Welcome to the January 2015 video blog from Parent in the Know on 2014 Parenting Studies Review of Top Research. Hi, I'm Lola Dale McManus, President and CEO of Parent in the Know, where we do parenting assessment and reporting, and our mission is for you to have an effective and enjoyable parenting experience. 2014 brought substantial and compelling findings from the very active parenting research community. These studies can support effective parenting and positive child outcomes. I'd like to share my picks for the top 10 research studies on parenting as a review for 2014. And I'd love to hear your responses and for you to share your top picks as well. We're going to start with studies in the early childhood period. This first study is entitled Stability in Maternal Autonomy Support and Child Executive Functioning. This study of children 1 to 3 years of age found a strong connection between parental support for child autonomy, which is supporting children's efforts to solve challenging problems by being flexible with the child and not being over-controlling, and children's executive functioning, which is a set of cognitive processes that include working memory, flexible thinking, planning, and carrying out tasks. Executive functioning is important not just for cognitive functioning, but social and psychological well-being. While this is not the first study to find this link, what is compelling is the young age of the children. This study is entitled Getting Acquainted, Actor and Partner Effects of Attachment and Temperament on Young Children's Peer Behavior. This study with 3-year-olds looked at the relationship between attachment to parents, children's temperament, and how they responded when in a play-based situation with each other. The children did not know one another, so had to navigate a new social situation. What I found most insightful was that regardless of temperament, a securely attached child handled the situation when faced with a difficult playmate more effectively by using a range of strategies. These included beginning with cooperation and making suggestions, but if this failed, becoming more assertive. This next study is entitled Family Routines and Social-Emotional School Readiness Among Preschool-Aged Children. This study, which includes over 8,000 4-year-olds, really packs the power, coming from one of the largest and longest-running studies, the Early Childhood Longitudinal Study. Focusing on social-emotional health and highlighting its importance for better school success, participating in 5 family routines a week, such as eating together, playing with their parents, and being read to, is associated with being more than twice as likely to exhibit high social emotional health, and there is an additive factor for additional child-parent shared activities. The concerning side, though, is that only 16% of the children could be said to have high social emotional health. Next, we'll look at some studies in middle childhood. This study is entitled That's Not Beautiful, That's Incredibly Beautiful. The Adverse Impact of Inflated Praise on Children with Low Self-Esteem. This study of 7 to 12-year-olds delves into the effect on self-esteem when praise, which is considered inflated, is used. Many years ago, personality theorist Erik Erikson wrote about the dangers of false praise to children. This study benefits, of course, from more focused and rigorous measures, and the finding that there is a difference in how children with high and low self-esteem respond is important and fascinating. Children with high self-esteem tend to take on more challenge after inflated praise, whereas those with low self-esteem do the opposite. The fact that parents tend to praise children who have low self-esteem the most with inflated praise can lead to such children really not engaging in much challenge, it turns out. This study is entitled The Second Shift Reflected in the Second Generation. Do Parents' Gender Roles at Home Predict Children's Aspirations? This study of children 7 to 13 makes very salient the expression, actions speak louder than words. Several of the findings show that mothers still do more household chores and their children associate women overall with this and with childcare. But the twist is that even when fathers publicly supported gender equality, this did not change their daughters' aspirations. The girls still saw themselves in traditional roles for women, such as teacher, nurse, stay-at-home mom. However, when dads physically shared with mom the household chores and responsibilities, their daughters were much more likely to aspire to professions which were broader and less stereotypical in scope. Now we'll look at some studies that began in middle childhood and followed children through adolescence. This study is entitled Variations in the Influence of Parental Socialization of Anxiety Among Clinic-Referred Children. This study examined the role parents play in the socialization of anxiety, which is one of the more common disorders among children. Studying children ages 6 to 16, the findings point to parents of anxious children give in to their need for reassurance, which may in fact promote more anxiety in that it validates there is danger. And parents are also quick to remove the child from anxiety-provoking situations or over-control the situation. The result is the child gets very little experience handling and dealing with his or her feelings, and so they are more likely to continue. Another intriguing finding is that in the Hispanic Latino families, parenting behaviors that promoted anxiety were twice as high as in Caucasian families. This study is called The Construction of Moral Agency in Mother-Child Conversations About Helping and Hurting Across Childhood and Adolescence. This study of children ranging in age from 7 to 16 explored the role that mothers play as they engage in conversations with their children about their actions. Contrasting helpful with harmful actions towards others, mothers were important facilitators toward morality. The interesting thing for me was the developmental change connected to the children's age. Younger children had conversations where the mothers drew out the children more through prompting and the specific details of helping children identify their feelings. But as children moved toward adolescence, mothers shifted their role to supporting and encouraging psychological insights about what could be learned from the situation. Now we'll look at studies with children and adolescents. This study is entitled Parental Accuracy Regarding Adolescent Dating Experiences, Relationships with Adolescent Psychological Adjustment and Inflammatory Regulation. This study of 13 to 16-year-olds uncovered a captivating link between parents' perceptions of their teen and certain immune functions for the kids related to cortisol, a stress hormone. But the key was that the parents and teens be aligned on their perception of how the teen's day had gone, positive or not. When teens had parents who were more accurate in these perceptions, the teens exhibited less physical stress, and therefore having parents be on the same page as their teenagers could serve as a buffer for adolescents. Now we'll move to studies that began in adolescence and followed the children to young adulthood. This study is called The Cascading Development of Autonomy and Relatedness from Adolescence to Adulthood. This study followed a group of teens from 13 to 21 and found that parents who use more psychological control of their children are undermining their ability to establish autonomy, which is independence of thinking and action, in their peer and romantic relationships. This is actually a well-established finding, but this study adds to our understanding because it is longitudinal. Parents may believe that heavily using tactics such as guilt and withdrawal of support may keep their children from giving in to peer pressure or being dominated by romantic partners, when in fact this sets teens up to both have little experience learning to be their own person and that one is expected to do what others prefer. The last study in the top 10 list is Whatever Happened to the Cool Kids? Long-term sequelae of early adolescent pseudo-mature behavior. This study, beginning when children were 13 and following them until age 23, reveals that when children strive for popularity, namely by engaging in behaviors that either older kids do or simply risk behaviors, such as early dating or delinquency, they do gain popularity in the short term. However, as young adults, their peers see them as less able to manage social situations and relationships, and those behaviors related to drugs, alcohol, and delinquency are more likely to be a part of their lives. One particularly insightful finding is that these teens have to continue to up the ante and engage in more and more extreme behaviors to retain their popularity status. The takeaway for parents is to be cognizant of appropriate maturity, which is children taking responsibility and being independent, versus inappropriate maturity, such as engaging in more adult-like actions and risk behaviors. These studies continue to highlight the critically important role that parents and parenting play in children's outcomes from early childhood through adolescence and into young adulthood. Parent in the Know provides assessment of parenting feelings, attitudes, and behaviors which help parents better understand their own functioning in the parental role. Our service offers these as self-report directly to parents and to parent educators and counselors and therapists to use in their practice. Please visit parentintheknow.com to learn more. Thank you.